Hello everyone, welcome to a brand new Dragon Ball What If episode. This time it's part 3 of What If Goku Met His Parents in GT. If you haven't checked out the previous 2 parts, be sure to check them out in the description below or in the iCard up here. I've been meaning to finish this one for a long time and I had a lot of fun making it. So if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like. Anyways, let's begin. Goku has returned from his adventures in Otherworld. Not only has he met his father, but reunited with his brother and mother. Now that peace has returned following the defeat of Baby, Goku smiles happily at the sky. Nothing would ever go wrong again, right? How wrong he was. Sadly, the anger and the thirst for revenge within Dr. Gero and Dr. Mew threatened Goku and his friends once more. Having seen Goku while he was visiting Hell, the doctors began to plan out the creation of a new Android 17 in order to finally defeat Goku. Soon enough, Trunks appeared at the front steps of the Sun family home. Extremely hurt, a giant black hole appeared over the sky as enemies from their past began to escape Hell. Cybermen ruled the streets and the Ginyu Force posed all over the world. Goku knew what he had to do: go into Hell and stop whoever was doing this. But he wondered, if everyone in Hell escaped, then were his parents around too? He didn't have time to find out as he blasted towards the hellhole. Meanwhile, his friends continued to battle enemies in an attempt to send them back to Hell. As Vegeta kicked Pui Pui away, knocking him out, a blast came his way from behind. Vegeta slapped it away, surprising the one who sent it. Nappa challenged Vegeta into battle, seeking revenge for his original death.
You think you're the only one who's trained?
Trust me, Nappa, there is no way you... Before he could finish that thought, a blast struck Nappa's head, sending him into a building. Vegeta turned his head, cocking an eyebrow. Another Saiyan, Raditz. I've always wanted to do that. Hello, Prince. Raditz, you've gotten stronger. Vegeta rushed against Raditz, clashing over and over again. To Vegeta's surprise, Raditz was doing better than expected. Not that it would matter. Super Saiyan could easily take care of him, but something stopped him, as Raditz himself burst his aura into a golden one, unleashing the Super Saiyan form he had obtained thanks to training with his father and the rest of the Bardock squad in Hell. That moment allowed Raditz to explain that he wasn't there to fight, he wants to help. Vegeta was taken aback. Interesting. Vegeta asked just what was going on. Why did he want to help? Raditz barely got to say that he met Goku in Hell, and soon after, Dr. Gero and Mew began to gather forces for this attack. It was thanks to Goku that he was reunited with his father and mother, the reason his battle instincts returned. Suddenly, several Cybermen jumped their way, commanded by Cooler. The tyrant was a surprise to the heroes, as Raditz was nearly struck by a blast. Vegeta protected Raditz and blasted at several Cybermen, before being joined by Gohan and Pan. This was complete pandemonium. Gohan couldn't believe his eyes. Raditz? He could recognize that hair anywhere. He burst towards him, not dissimilar to the last time he attacked his uncle, but Vegeta got in the way. What the hell are you doing? We gotta take him out. I know he's your friend, but... Friend? Huh, we were barely comrades when he was alive. No, listen, Gohan. Raditz is here to help. He met with Kakarot in Hell. He knows what's going on. And you trust him? He was the reason my dad died in the first place. Wait, you... Kakarot's boy! Huh, I was right after all. Hybrids were stronger. Trust me, kid, I have no wish to fight you now. The faster I can get away from this hell, the faster I'll be happy. Gohan didn't like to be talked to that way, so he slammed his fist against Raditz's face, breaking his nose, but finally agreeing. Pan had never seen her father like that, nor did she know she had a great uncle, but it was at least funny. Now they were surrounded by not only Cybermen, but also Cell Juniors and Cooler himself. The Saiyans stood back to back. Raditz was going to say that he'd take the ones on the left, but no one listened to him. The Saiyans simply spread out and made quick work of the army. They were nothing in the face of Gohan, Vegeta, and even Pan. Raditz was the most surprised by Pan. She was so young yet seemingly even stronger than he was. Just how much had Kakarot's family evolved since the last time he saw them? He wondered how his life would be different if he had taken Kakarot's opportunity to join him, rather than attempt to kill him. Would he have become this strong as well? Well, no time to cry over spilled milk now. Raditz was distracted, with a Cyberman jumping his way. Pan blasted, but a different blast hit him first. A squeaky voice was heard from behind. Gine.
My poor boy. Did he almost get you?
Mother, I can handle myself. Mother? Wait, you mean she's my...
You must be Gohan. Kakarot and old Gohan told me so much about you. And this is Pan? Where's Goten and my daughter-in-law?
Gohan and Pan had no idea how to react as she jumped to hug them both, but they simply hugged back. This was so awkward, but she seemed like a nice person. After some more formalities, such as Gine bowing to the prince and him awkwardly telling her to stop that, the team moved on to find Goten, Trunks, and Oob. Just like before, they were completely flabbergasted by the situation, but Goten used the situation to his advantage, as Palace saw his grandmother hug him. She said that she loves it when boys take care of their grandparents. So Goten nervously asked Gine if she needed help crossing the road. Trunks side-eyes Vegeta, who nods in agreement. Kakarot's family was full of weirdos. Gine also bowed to Trunks, to which Goten laughed at him. More enemies came their way, but this made Vegeta wonder something. If Gine and Raditz were here, where was Kakarot's father?
Father? He chose to help Kakarot out. I'm sure he'll join us soon enough.
Meanwhile, in Hell, Kid Goku found himself in some trouble. He was surrounded by Cell, Frieza, and some of his army. Unlike the original story, Dr. Mew and Jiro were more aware of Goku's power, thus not only making Super 17 a little bit stronger, but also giving Cell and Frieza time to train. The two of them have developed new forms for this battle, though they still do not compare to the Super Saiyan 4. This is the only chance I'm ever gonna get to use this, guys, so roll with it.
You're not the only one who's gotten stronger, son Goku.
We are keenly aware of your new super forms, so we've developed a couple of our own.
Cell and Frieza's bodies emitted light. Goku shielded his eyes from it as the evildoers revealed their brand new power. Ultimate Frieza and Ultimate Cell. These are two real forms that appeared in the Dragon Ball GT stage show in the 90s. Since Cell and Frieza have gotten stronger, I wanted to show it physically. And since I don't get many chances to do GT what-ifs, here it is. Goku was in awe. They really were awesome. Frieza commented on how he originally wanted a golden form, but Cell convinced him otherwise. Since Super Saiyan wasn't even Goku's top power anymore, the symbolism would have simply been lost. Goku, still sure that he could win, cracks his knuckles as he zooms at Frieza, throwing a kick at the Emperor. To his surprise, Frieza actually dodged the kick and used the chance to slam Goku down to the ground with his tail. Cell then appeared as Goku hit the ground and kicked the kid into the Needle Mountain. Goku burst out, wiping blood off his face as a golden aura surrounded him. The surge of power, it actually made Frieza tremble. The sight of the Super Saiyan shouldn't get to him anymore, but it did. Even so, Cell laughed. That wouldn't be enough. The battle continued, with Frieza and Cell ganging up on Goku, not giving him a chance to actually land any punches nor transform further. Goku was worried. He had underestimated his opponents. That was until Frieza was about to pierce through Goku at point-blank range, when a spinning kick sent him flying off. Cell was surprised, turning back and giving Goku the chance to slam him away too. Goku smiled, looking up to see the golden glow of Bardock.
Kept you waiting, huh?
Goku's eyes lit up with wonder. He knew he had sensed a familiar presence here, but he didn't expect his father. At least he'd get some help against these villains. Bardock reveals that he had been training alongside Raditz to catch up to Goku ever since they last saw each other, with Goku asking just where his brother and mother were.
They're on Earth, helping your kids. I knew this would be a mess. We gotta get you out of here quickly. I'm afraid an even bigger threat is at hand.
Alright, let's do this.
Bardock burst into Super Saiyan, revealing just how much he had progressed since the last time. Merely sensing the power of Super Saiyan 4 and fighting alongside his son had given him a boost. Father and son duo clashed against Frieza and Cell, shaking Otherworld itself. King Yema was worried about the situation in Earth and Hell. Getting a message from Piccolo in Heaven, he was asking to be sent to Hell again? Meanwhile, Frieza whipped his tail violently, while Cell rose up from the fountain he had been kicked into. Bardock clenched his fist, memories of Planet Vegeta and Frieza's betrayal seething beneath the cold gaze, determination in his eyes.
I failed to defeat you once. I won't fail again.
Vengeance from a mere monkey? I destroyed your pitiful planet and every single Saiyan. You're just a remnant of that old planet, and soon your son will be too.
With a battle cry, Goku and Bardock rushed towards their foes. Goku, quick as a lightning bolt, darted against Cell, unleashing a flurry of punches, while Bardock focused his rage on Frieza. Energy blast lit the sky, the impact of their collision creating craters beneath them. However, the villains' combined power seemed to be insurmountable. Frieza's tail lashed out, sending Bardock crashing into a nearby mountain. Meanwhile, Cell's long legs shot out, capturing Goku in a crushing grip, followed by his tail attempting to absorb absorb Goku, Bardock smirked, knowing this battle was really just amusement for Kakarot. His powers were far beyond any of them, and could easily finish these villains off. No doubt he was saving his energy for the real upcoming battle, but above that, he was humoring his old man in this final battle. Bardock was proud of Kakarot. He couldn't compete against him, not anymore, but he was happy to fight by his side. Goku broke free of Cell's grasp and joined Bardock. Their energy synced, their auras flaring, blindingly bright, resonating as one. It was then, with the battle's intensity at its peak, that the air shifted. From the shadows, Piccolo emerged, proclaiming that they don't have to fight alone, and that he is there to help Goku get back to Earth. This surprise appearance caught the Saiyans off guard.
I told you to stay out of hell, Goku. I told you King Yama wouldn't like me coming down to help again.
Great to see you again, Piccolo. Don't worry, I'll be out of here soon.
Piccolo joined in the battle as what seemed like an endless army of Frieza soldiers began to appear. It was overwhelming. Bardock had his back against the wall for a second. Goku shoved Cell off to help his father out, but suddenly a bright blast caused the soldiers to be pushed away. Circling around Bardock now stood a small band of Saiyans. Bardock's old squad, Fasha, Borgos, Shugesh, and Tora. Bardock smirked. He was wondering where they were.
Sorry for being late. Had our own hands full of Cybermen. Another lousy excuse. Alright team, let's do in death what we couldn't while living!
Bardock's squad cheered. As Bardock once again burst his aura open, they spread through different directions as Frieza helplessly watched his men fall. Not that he could watch for long, as he felt a punch strike his face. Bardock had reached him again. As more and more of his men perished, more of Bardock's squad joined in the battle against the Emperor itself. It was clear that there was years and years of history behind each punch. Bardock's squad had also been training with Raditz and Bardock, and though they hadn't progressed nearly as much, it was just the help Bardock needed. Piccolo yelled at Goku to finish things off as he kept Cell at bay. Goku was proud of the progress not only made by his father, but seemingly the entire Saiyan race. He thanked Piccolo as Cell was punched across the bloody pond. Goku darted behind the villain, his form beginning to change, growing, first sprouting, transforming into Super Saiyan 4. His power radiated, causing the fabric of hell to tremble. Bardock, a golden light in the middle of his squad, directed his friends to follow his lead. He used the after image to avoid Frieza's various moves, until reaching the Emperor and placing his hand firmly against his chest. There was an explosion of ki that sent Frieza away as a rain of Saiyan blast from the squad followed suit. Frieza was consumed, his ki presence disappearing. At the same time, Goku fired a 10 times Kamehameha towards Cell. The blast clashed against their respective targets at the same time, leaving nothing but the remains of an unconscious Frieza and Cell. There was a weight being lifted from Bardock's shoulders now, a sense of duty that had been fulfilled. Goku powered down, Bardock approaching, placing a hand on his son's shoulder. Goku turned to smile at his father and at the squad. Though they were only a small number of Saiyans, it was clear that to them, the defeat of Frieza meant the avenging of their entire race. However, those celebrations were short-lived. He suddenly began to shake, with Goku asking what was going on. Bardock perked up. He couldn't sense it, but he had an idea. Jiro and Mew had finally made their plans known. Piccolo cursed. He knew they should have ended the battle faster than that. Telepathically, he calls on Dende. He would need his help to open the Hell Portal. Meanwhile, Bardock's predictions rang true. Android 17 and Hellfighter 17 had fused into a single being, Super 17. Though the heroes fought violently, they stood little chance. Even Vegeta and Gohan struggled greatly. Soon enough, Raditz could do little but shield his mother as debris from the battles threatened her. Thanks to Dende's help, Piccolo was able to get a portal back to Earth opened. As Goku hopped out, he turned to wave, saying goodbye to his green friend, but realized that Bardock was staying behind. He asked why his father wouldn't be coming along.
Raditz and Gine should be returning soon, but this is your battle, son. Plus, who will defend Hell?
Yeah, right. Get out there, Captain. Your family needs you. We'll take care of things here. But trust me, your kid needs you now. Stop being a deadbeat.
Fasha laughed loudly, pushing Bardock out of the portal. The squad waved goodbye, teasing Bardock along the way. Guess he had no option. The portal faded on Tora's face. For some reason, he felt like he wouldn't be seeing him for much longer. As the portal closed, Piccolo wished Goku good luck, and suddenly Goku's face turned serious. He could feel his friend's ki slowly decreasing. Krillin's was gone. He looked up at his father and nodded. Time to finish things. They arrive at a desolate battlefield, watching Dr. Gero being betrayed and killed by Super 17. Pan watched in horror as 17 blasted at Vegeta, only for said blast to be intercepted by Goku and Bardock, pushing it back and into the sky. Mew was surprised to not only see Goku but Bardock, another warrior he had seen in Hell. Gine smiled at the sight of her husband and son, cheering for them, while Raditz helped her up. Gohan and Goten's eyes widened. That was their grandfather?
Yeah, but we'll have a proper introduction later. For now.
Bardock's aura opened, as did Goku's. Both Super Saiyan and Super Saiyan 3 respectively rushed to Android 17, attacking any which way they could. But Bardock loved using his ki-based attacks, and it was soon clear none of it was effective. Bardock didn't realize it at first, blasting at 17 with everything he could. Staring at the cloud of smoke, Bardock actually thought he could have done enough damage, but those hopes were quickly shattered, as from the smoke itself, a giant black energy ball shot towards Bardock. The Saiyan could do little but try and push it back, while Goku continued to attack 17. The energy ball nearly obliterated Bardock, if it wasn't for Vegeta, Goten, and Gohan shooting their own blasts at it. Super 17 was a lot tougher than expected.
Ah, Saiyan family reunion. Ha! Even the doctor didn't see this coming. I'll be glad to reunite you all in hell.
It wasn't long before Goku was forced to use Super Saiyan 4 against the android, but even that didn't seem like quite enough. His absorption power tanked nearly everything thrown his way. Bardock continued to support his son however he could, but Super 17 seemed impenetrable. Goku's only option now was a self-destruction as he jumped behind 17 and began to gather his energy. Gine, Bardock, Vegeta, Gohan, Goten, they all yelled at Goku to stop this madness. If they didn't do something quickly, either Goku would die or the entire planet would. Vegeta looked around. He hated feeling useless. If only he had Super Saiyan 4. If only he had a tail. That's when he looked at Bardock. Wait, that's it! Bardock, Raditz, look up! Burst open and mix! Vegeta launched an artificial moon, a technique he hadn't used since he first arrived on Earth. This was a technique familiar to the warrior Saiyans, as both the king and the prince had used it while taking over planets in the past. They didn't expect to be in this situation again, but was this the right call? Even Goku questioned it, as the bright light forced Raditz, Bardock, and even Gine to morph into giant apes that began firing blasts indiscriminately, one even hitting Super 17 and giving him the chance to push Goku away. 17 laughed as more blasts came his way, absorbing them. Goku tells Vegeta that he was a fool. They can't control it. The prince cursed. Of course, Kakarot's family was low class. Only the elite could control their power in Ozaru. But as Goku and the rest of the family flew over to Bardock to try and convince him to get a hold of himself, Super 17 continued to attack. Goku did what he could to defend both his family and the Ozaru, but the rampage was catastrophic. Vegeta thought to himself, begging them not to let him down. As he did, the Ozaru focused in on Goku. The red fur, the sound of battle, the strength, it was familiar to the Saiyans, even if they didn't realize it yet. This intuition swelled up within Bardock as his fur color began to change into a golden one. Something was working, and it excited Vegeta. He knew this was the right call, but there was more that was needed. Pan tried to think of what it was that helped their grandfather turn into a Super Saiyan 4 the first time. What was the key? She then realized it, flying close to the action, much to the behest of Gohan, who tried to reach out. But Pan landed behind her grandmother, slicing her tail clean off. Her great-grandmother was left in a daze and confused as Pan frantically tried to tell her that she needed to aid them into getting Bardock and Raditz to control themselves. Gine flew up alongside Pan, looking into Bardock's eyes as he continued to rampage. She told him how far he'd come, how they had finally been reunited with her sons, and they needed to do good by them. Didn't he say he wanted to save things for once? Now was his chance, a chance to save their son's home. Super 17 laughed maniacally, rushing down and blasting at the Ozaru and Gine. He wanted them out of the way. They were just annoying. As Gine and Pan were about to get struck, the giant hand of the Ozaru Bardock burst down to protect them, but he was still struggling. Bardock watched Goku fly up to the sky, the majestic form of the Super Saiyan form in front of the artificial moon, hands full of energy as he rushed down to attack Super 17. Seeing the visage of his son, overlooking them all in front of the glow of the full moon, was the final touch. The key. He realized now what he needed to do. He reached out. As he whispered Kakarot's name, Bardock's heart began beating fast, the roar of the Ozaru echoing in his head as the artificial moon, now to him, looked like planet Vegeta. Bardock was now surrounded by smoke. As he looked up, tail around his waist, shrinking down. Bardock was now a Super Saiyan 4. Gine and the rest of their family flew up to Raditz, urging him to control himself, that their enemy is not the world, but this hellish creation. Raditz was extremely new to Super Saiyan, and his power was far below Bardock's, so Super Saiyan 4 was not within reach just yet, but his mind within could at least be pointed towards the right enemy. As he began to glow golden, Goku descended next to his father, the two Super Saiyan 4s, and the golden great ape behind them, surrounded by their family and friends. There was no way they could lose now. Super 17 now stands defiantly, an insidious grin on his face, looking down at the two Super Saiyan 4s. Maybe this will be a challenge now. Bardock lunges at him first, delivering a series of punches that Super 17 narrowly evades. Goku joins in, their combined attacks creating a dazzling display of combat prowess, but Super 17, with his enhanced abilities, parried and dodged, continuously nullifying their key attacks. Bardock's attacks were heavy, slower than Goku's, but they packed quite a punch, while Goku was much more precise, a true martial artist. Golden Ozaru Raditz towered over the battlefield, unleashing destructive beams from his mouth. Each blast is powerful, but it lacked precision, as he still couldn't get complete hold of himself. Yet, every time he aims at Super 17, the android finds a way to absorb or deflect the energy. Was he a hindrance rather than any help? The Z-Fighters talk about cutting his tail off. Perhaps Goku and Bardock would be enough. As Dr. Mew yells at him to stop playing around and kill them already, Super 17 finally has enough of it, throwing Dr. Mew in the middle of a mouth blast, shot out by Raditz, killing the second Doctor. Android 18, who had been watching from the sidelines, arrived in the battlefield. Her heart sank. Her brother must truly be gone. She yelled at him, trying to reason with him, but nothing worked. At times, it seems like sparks of hope fluttered, especially watching 17 kill Dr. Mew. It reminded 18 of their time with Jiro, but she couldn't deny that this was sad. Suddenly, however, she realized something. The Ozaru, despite his incredible melee power, was exclusively using Mouth Blast. Each one allowed Goku and Bardock a chance to strike, though they would have to avoid them too. Perhaps Raditz had actually figured out a weakness? She watched closely, and sure enough, Raditz was not firing without any sense, despite what it looked like. He was truly trying to help their family. Gine yelled out, leading everyone and telling them to overwhelm 17 with their blasts. Trunks questioned it, but Vegeta told him to shut up and listen. Gine and the rest began to fire, each blast joining in with Raditz's mouth blast to become one incredible giant attack. Goku and Bardock dodged out of the way. It was time to finish this. Bardock and Goku nodded at each other as the rebel Saiyan looked down at his hand, thinking of his friends in hell, his family, everyone. This was one final hurrah for the old Saiyan, his chance to have one final fight alongside his son, and prove that the sacrifices of the Saiyan race were not for nothing. Goku and Bardock burst forward, the imagery of an Ozaru shining throughout, a roar echoing alongside Raditz. As they near, their fists connect with Super 17 in a colossal double Ozaru punch, directly impacting his core. Sparkles of light burst around them, fists up high in the air, as Ozaru Raditz roared in celebration. The family had one final battle together as allies. Gine couldn't be prouder. After some more introductions, where Goten and Gohan were left speechless that this smelly man was their grandfather, the team had a celebratory meal at Capsule Corp. Bardock was disappointed at Goten for having cut his hair away from their proud Bardock-like one. It was passed down from generation to generation to the second-born son. Pan made an ugly face, so if she had a younger brother, he'd have to deal with that? Raditz and Vegeta didn't really see eye to eye, but they at least respected each other. Chi-Chi and Gine got along very well, and they talked all about how messy their husbands could be. It was a bittersweet reunion. Chi-Chi continued to ask hundreds of questions to Bardock and Gine, while everyone was a little scared of Raditz. Goku tried to convince them all that he wasn't that bad of a guy, but he kinda liked being perceived that way. A couple of times he made Gohan flinch while reaching for the salt. This also led Bulma to ask questions about King Vegeta and Vegeta's family. The prince wasn't one to share a lot, so Raditz and Bardock jumped in, telling Bulma, Bra, and Trunks everything they knew, from the king belonging to his little brother. In the end, King Yama contacted Goku through King Kai. He explained that it was time to return everyone to hell, as he was nearly done checking in all the villains. Gine was very sad that she had to leave them. She actually liked Chi-Chi a lot and gave her a big hug, while giving a lot of advice to Pan. Pan wasn't too interested in her great-grandmother, but more so on her great-grandfather. He was way too cool and much less embarrassing than her grandpa Goku. The two of them got along well, and Bardock made sure to make Pan promise to train and get stronger. She is, after all, the legacy of his family. Pan was happy to agree. With Baba's help, Bardock and the two others disappeared into Otherworld after a huge hug from Goku. He was unsure if they would ever meet again. He wasn't planning on dying and going to hell, but there was a large pit left in his stomach. Something was wrong. Now they would have to gather the Dragon Balls to return the world to the way it was before and revive everyone killed by the evildoers. Unbeknownst to him, the Dragon Balls had been tainted by the darkness of the world, and his greatest challenge was around the corner. Many adventures would come for Goku as he collected the 7 Dragon Balls and fought the Shadow Dragons, but none more so than Omega Shenron. The battle culminated in a giant spirit bomb that collected energy from everyone all over the universe and Otherworld, including Bardock, Gine, and Raditz, and those in heaven, such as Dabura and Grandpa Gohan. They were glad to share their energy with Kakarot. In the end, Shenron asked Goku to come with him after repairing the world, but Goku had a few stops along the way: Krillin, Roshi, and even Piccolo in Hell. In one way or another, they all knew what was happening to Goku. Thus, we pick back up in Hell, just as Goku says goodbye to Piccolo and gets ready to depart. The flames of Hell illuminate the moment with an eerie serenity. Shenron, majestic and timeless, stood patiently, ready to embark on an eternal voyage with Goku. The unexpected sound of a voice shattered the stillness.
Kakarot?
The weight of that single word rooted Goku to the spot. He slowly turned, his gaze meeting the familiar tender eyes of Gine. Her appearance brought a flood of emotions, of laughter, of innocence, of a planet long lost, the mother whom he had only recently been reunited with. Gine moved swiftly, her steps faltering for a moment, before she wrapped her arms around Goku. But to Goku, this was much more bittersweet. From the shifting shadows emerged Bardock and Raditz. Bardock's eyes were heavy with unspoken thoughts. He knew something was wrong.
What are you doing here?
The question seemed to carry the weight of all the lost moments and memories they never got to share. Goku, his voice choked with emotions, whispered,
I've gotta go.
Raditz looked at Goku, a torrent of emotions flashing through his eyes. Envy, rage, all of the above. But really, it was brotherhood, something he didn't expect to feel.
But where?
The question hung in the air, echoing their shared past and the lost opportunities. Gine's eyes then widened with horror. Without a word, she realized that Goku was leaving for good, crossing a boundary between death and life. Bardock cocked an eyebrow, scoffing and asking if he was kidding. There was no way he could just leave. But Goku looked down, and then back up with a melancholic smile. Raditz pushed his father aside and angrily told Goku that he couldn't do that. It was clear that people around him still needed him. Wasn't there more he wanted, more power to obtain? Raditz threw a punch at the kid, who caught it with ease and pushed his brother back. He could continue getting stronger, but this was the only way to grow for now. Goku chuckled. Even in his sadness, he was still cheery, with hope for the future. He knew he would see them again eventually, right? At least, he hoped so. Gine took a hold of Goku's hands, tears streaming down her face. She focused in on his eyes, begging him to stay, that they had just been reunited. Even if he doesn't see them often, just knowing they would come together again was a light at the end of her tunnel. Saiyans weren't supposed to care for their families. Why had they been given this gift, this curse?
You always had a destiny larger than this life. If you must leave, I understand.
Raditz approached Goku, hesitating momentarily. He didn't know what to say, meeting his family again. Seeing Gohan now older with his own daughter, he has admiration for what Goku has accomplished. Not that Raditz could express any of it. He simply said,
See you.
The two brothers simply nodded at each other, just as Goku was about to ascend with Shenron. Gine's sob pierced the air. Everyone looked their way. Looking at Kakarot, especially as a kid, all she could see was the young boy she sent in a space pod all those years ago. The fact that she had to be separated from her youngest son for over 5 decades. The fact that she had been forgotten by him. Gine couldn't go through that again.
Kakarot, every time I close my eyes, I see that little boy. The one we sent to Earth to keep safe. We missed your childhood, your struggles, your joys. I can't let you go again.
Bardock, while trying to comfort Gine, was in turmoil himself. He tried to tell her that this was his path, not theirs.
No, I refuse. Last time we had no choice, but now I choose to go with him. Kakarot, let us come!
Bardock and Gine heard a voice from behind. Tora and the rest of his squad. They were looking at them in surprise. Fasha asked if what they heard was true. Were they really leaving? Bardock looked at the ground. He needed to be there for his squad. Last time he wasn't, they all perished. He had a responsibility to them too, but Fasha punched his chest as Tora put him in a headlock. Gine couldn't help but giggle. It was just like old times. Goku focused in on them. They had gone through so much already, and even now, they were willing to leave everything they knew just to come with him. Shugesh explained that the squad had gotten a lot stronger since the last time they fought, so they could take care of themselves. Plus, they were given a unique opportunity to continue kicking Dodoria's ass in the afterlife. They just couldn't pass that up.
You forgetting what I told you? We'll be okay. You and Gine deserve to be happy for once. Tora... Thank you.
Goku was left awestruck.
Are you sure? Even I'm not sure where I'll end up.
We don't care. You reunited us. Now it's time we pay you back. We have faced death, war, and the vastness of space. Let's face your destiny together.
Shenron looked at the family, with Goku in the center. The first time he saw Goku, the young kid had already found a family in the form of his friends. He never wondered where he came from, but now seeing them all together, it seems like one final reward for all the years of battle. The last wish granted by Shenron, just what their hearts desire. This was the final gift from the Dragon Balls, as Shenron lowered himself to allow the family to climb on top. Bardock couldn't believe it. He didn't have time to process it, as Gine dragged him on top of the dragon. Raditz remained on the ground, looking up, unsure, but a hand reached out with a happy smile. His younger brother. There was no doubt in his mind, as Raditz took the hand as well. He climbed on top. The family, closer than ever in death, sat atop Shenron, leaving behind a legacy, yet venturing into a new beginning. Bardock and the others waved at Bardock's squad, even Piccolo down below. As soon as they disappeared, Borgos burst into tears, while Fasha tried to hide hers. As they continued into the sky, Bardock's bandana slipped away, fluttering down to earth in the wind. That bandana had once belonged to Tora before Bardock placed it on his head. It represented hope for the Saiyans, but that was no longer needed. The Saiyans, though few remained, had been saved by people like Kakarot and Vegeta. The Saiyan race lived on, but was Bardock ready to move on? Gine held his hand, comforting him with a smile.
Some things are meant to be left behind for the future.
Bardock couldn't help but smile back at Gine. Goku's laugh echoed. The youngest Saiyan knew he'd see his family and friends someday, but for now, his parents and brother would keep him company as Shenron disappeared into the sky, the 7 magic Dragon Balls going with them. Beneath the clouds, the bandana fluttered down, landing on top of a blue gi that was left behind after the battles against Omega Shenron. Pan watched it fall and approached it. She recognized it as her great-grandfather's, and the blue gi as her grandfather's. She held them.
Wait a sec. These look like the same clothes Grandpa was wearing before he went off with Shenron.
They are. Take good care of those, Pan.
The Saiyan Prince burst away, as Pan was left wondering just what this could mean. She would never get that answer. But many years later, in a world reborn, Goku Jr., donning Goku's gi and Bardock's bandana, fought with the passion of generations past at the New World Tournament. Old Grandma Pan, her gaze far away, in a fleeting moment, she could have sworn that she saw Bardock, Gine, Raditz, and Goku all watching proudly. Pan shook her head. She must have just been imagining things. Or maybe not. Earth was at peace. The Saiyans were at peace. The end. Thank you for watching, everyone. I really hope you enjoyed What If Goku Met His Parents in GT. Originally, it was only 2 parts, meeting Gine and Bardock, but I knew that I wanted to continue it with that last little bit at the end there. And as I kept writing, I decided, why not include them into the Super 17 arc? As always, thank you to the Patreons and members of the channel. Raphael Terran, Jay Johnson, K McKnight, Daruv, Awasti, The Shadows, SFM Heck, Indigo Saturn 64, Earth Dragon, Gerald Smith, Baby Yoda, Jake King, Dalen Kemmer, Softer Cat, Arvin Selman, Faffing About, Kitsune Jester, Kaiju Monarch, Shadow Paradox, Eric Jenkins, Evan Webb Stewart, Lost Saiyan 997, Orange Crimsicle, Chris Macareno, Mao Lick, Daddy, Cyber Samurai, Ryan Wapula, Beastie Man 420, Akko, D-Man for Life, Blaze 9526, Craze PlayStation CK, Free Flow Highway, Jamie Pollard, Mystic Angel, Shane Ke, True Lightning Striker, Ghost 1571, Trent Rolls, D-Man Plays 22, Jim G, Jerome Foster, Keith Grimes, Dreadpool, Samuel Randall, James Bracebridge, 200 Days to Get Shredded, Fu, Ryan, Rotert, Undertaker Jesus, Seaward Chimp 89, Jesse Ford, Christian Hillman, Nuka Draco, Lewis Perkins, Hannah Rowan, Ryuzaki, and Jonathan Way. Thank you guys for supporting the channel, as all of it goes directly into the videos you enjoy. Anyways, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, especially with friends who like Dragon Ball, and until we meet again. See ya!